Welcome back. This is In the News with David Lucas, and today I'm going to be answering some burning questions that came up this week regarding the Trump election, the 2020 election with Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and all the aftermath. Stay tuned. So we're going to start off with this question. It comes after Donald Trump has claimed voter fraud for the last few weeks, for the last 2-3 weeks now. And in the process, he himself has raised over $207 million for himself, like campaign donations or just private donations. And the question comes, can he keep that money? Is it illegal to raise those funds after the election? The truth is, there's no law against it. He can keep those funds. He can use those funds for whatever he chooses, because depending on how he raised those monies, if it didn't go directly into his campaign fund, where there are specific restrictions on its use, I've read that there are ways in which these politicians can raise money and it goes directly into their personal accounts and they can use that money however they see fit. Not only is Donald Trump doing that, many other Republicans have joined the bandwagon with this voter fraud thing, as bogus as it might be. And they create websites and all of that, and people can donate money. There's one particular guy where they donate the money directly to him. It's not a 501c3, it's not a nonprofit. The money goes right to him, and he uses it however he wants. So that's one of the questions, and unfortunately that is still legal in this country. Now, the second question that came up this week, as Donald Trump is figuring out that he's basically lost the election and none of his plans seem to be working with overturning the election, the question comes, can he pardon his friends, his family, himself? Okay, there was a story that came out said that he's going to pardon Rudy Giuliani, his favorite television attorney. The truth is that is within his power. He can actually pardon whomever he wants. But here's the key. He can only pardon federal crimes. If there are crimes that have been asserted or any of his people will be indicted with, if they are federal, he can wipe them out. He can wipe them out clean. He can do that for his son. He can do that for his daughter. And he can do that for Rudy Giuliani. The main question is, can he do that same thing for himself? It's never been tried before. The power is there. To my knowledge, there's no law against it. So if Donald Trump thinks that he himself has done something that he can be federally charged for, he should be able to pardon himself. It looks bad, but I don't think Donald Trump cares much about how things look. He's all about protecting himself, so I think he would definitely do it. Also, there's a second bit to this question. There is an investigation right now about the idea that there may have been some bribery involved in the pardon. So that means that someone would be paying Donald Trump to pardon them. Now that is a crime. So that's being investigated right now. So that's a hot topic that's going on right now. The next question that came up this week is, right now we have two solid, maybe three solid COVID-19 vaccines that are currently being rolled out. One with Regeneron, another with Pfizer, and Russia is saying that they have one as well. And the question becomes, should you take it? That's going to depend on the person. These vaccines could be the next big thing for us. My suggestion is take it. At this point, going around the world, it's such a huge pandemic. I think people should take the vaccine. I would actually take the vaccine, especially the Pfizer one, because I have a relationship with Pfizer. I've worked with Pfizer before in the past, and so I trust their work. I trust their science. I trust their research. So I would definitely take the vaccine. But I'm not against or opposed to anyone saying that they will not. Now, another question, the next question comes. Several high-ranking Republicans have gotten caught in insider trading. Should they go to jail? Well, here's the deal. Insider trading is against the law. What does that mean? That means that you had some information given to you, and it means that you either sold off some stock because you were in close relation to that information, or you bought some stock because you were close. You had information no one else had. That's insider trading. Should they go to jail if they use that to their benefit, that information to their benefit? The truth is, that's a law. Yes, they should go to jail or be prosecuted for that. Martha Stewart, if you remind you, maybe 10 years ago, Martha Stewart lied when she had some insider trading going on. She went to jail for that. So I think there's still a precedence for that. It's illegal, and so there's several ranking high Republican members right now that are actually dealing with that, and that's going to be one of the things that came up this week. The next question. Some people still are under the impression that the election was rigged. Was it? The fact is, the election was not rigged. But convincing the public otherwise, when there's so many people chiming in saying that it was, it's very hard to get that information out. So that means that half of the country thinks it was rigged and the other half think it wasn't rigged. Here's the dilemma with it though. Biden won the election. If the election was rigged, all of the Republicans would have lost the election. Okay? Lindsey Graham would have lost. Mitch McConnell would have lost. Why? Because these are high-ranking Republicans that no Democrat wants in office. Okay? So there's a lot of give and take with that information. But right now, no judge, no court, anyone is ruling in favor of Donald Trump with the voter fraud issue. Now, with that, there is a man, a Republican in Florida, who actually did commit voter fraud. Okay? And he will possibly be indicted for his actions. He committed voter fraud in Georgia, and he's in Florida. He's a high-ranking Republican in Florida. He committed voter fraud in Georgia, and he asked other Republicans to do the same thing. And it's all on video. It's not like this is some secret or anything. He did this publicly. So he's going to be in hot water pretty soon. Also, Lindsey Graham, this is the next question that comes up. Lindsey Graham meddled in the Georgia election, and he's a high-ranking Republican in South Carolina. Here's the question. Should he be prosecuted for it? Of course he should be prosecuted for it. But here's the deal. He's Lindsey Graham. Okay? What is that like to us? For someone like us, yes, we'd be prosecuted, we go to jail. for something like that. We'd be kicked out of our positions, if nothing more, right? But here's the thing, he's Lindsey Graham. So what is that for him? For him, that's like a traffic ticket, right? You're driving down the road and you go through a red light. No one gets hurt, but you get pulled over by the police. And the police has the ability to say, okay, don't do that again. That was against the law. Don't do that again. Or they can say, hey, we're going to give you a ticket, give you a fine, or take you to jail. All of those variations work. This is Lindsey Graham. The variation that works for Lindsey Graham is he gets off. He gets off scot-free. He will not be prosecuted. Should he be prosecuted for it? Absolutely. But he will not be prosecuted for it. He will not lose his position. He's not at all worried about it. And there are several groups that are going after him on this because it wasn't an illegal tampering. Okay? States are all about states' business. They don't want other people butting into their business. But he's Lindsey Graham. What am I saying here? I want people to understand, when you start studying politics and you start looking around, I'm not saying it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is the man did something illegal, right? But when you start getting into politics, you start to understand that a lot of them do stuff illegal and they get away with it. That just is what it is. And what I'm saying is we can't be naive into thinking that just because someone did something illegal, he's going to go to jail or be punished for it. That's being naive. They all do stuff. They get away with it. We can change that. But for right now, we don't live in a perfect world. In a perfect world, Lindsey Graham would lose his job. He'd probably be prosecuted. He'd probably be sued or something. But this is not a perfect world. Lindsey Graham is above the law. Okay. Now, a lot of people are concerned about presidential norms that should possibly be laws, because Donald Trump broke every norm there was. Okay, things like if you own a business, you don't commingle government business with your personal business. Putting your children in high-ranking positions and doing all of that. All of that is a conflict of interest. How you deal with international relations, bribing officials, and doing all of these things. Well, these are presidential norms. We look at these things and we think, well, that's got to be against the law. That's just wrong. It's got to be against the law. Here's the truth. It's not against the law because our Constitution doesn't speak to that. Okay? It alludes to some of those practices, but it doesn't speak specifically to those things. So, what am I saying? I'm saying that if these things are to be overcome in the future, they have to become laws. We have to change the laws. These are things that need to be written into the Constitution or amended in the Constitution. At this point, the man isn't committing any laws when he breaks these norms. He's just basically living his life like he's always done. He's not assimilating to the norms, okay? And because they're not against the law, he's saying, well, I'll just do what I want. Now, here's the last thing that came up this week that I think is pressing, and that is, I feel that from some of the actions, this is one of the norms that I think we need to get rid of, and that is, after an election is over, our President of the United States have 2.5 months, still as the president, still with all the presidential powers that comes with that role, even though he has been voted out as the president. Well, in the situation with Donald Trump, he's been pulling troops out of different regions. He's been doing all kinds of crazy things, using his White House powers in crazy ways. He canceled a surveillance plane that would fly over Russia and some of our some pretty important positions he's canceled out and done away with. And these are things that need to be changed. Now, what do you think about that? It's been said that he's trying to handicap Joe Biden. By the time Joe Biden comes in as the president, he'll have all of these fires to put out. And here's the thing, I want to remind people, we're dealing with COVID-19 right now, and we're losing lives at 3,000 people a day. We're already over 270,000 lives lost in the United States. Okay, we got that issue. Unemployment. There's millions of people out of work and no stimulus package to be heard of. Mitch McConnell has made sure of that. He's canceled every second opportunity to give the country a stimulus package. You got that going on. Okay? You've got how to deal with COVID-19 and the vaccines and all of these things. And now you're also having to deal with foreign policy, which Donald Trump is trying to sabotage. Okay? All of these things have to be dealt with. My opinion is, after a president has been voted on, within the next couple of weeks, that president needs to be transitioned out of the White House. Now, if in fact it takes longer to transition, that transition period, at least remove the presidential powers. Meaning, no nuclear weapons, none of that really pressing stuff with the military. None of that. Those are things I think that we need to start looking at and make these things into law. And we can do that. These are choices that we can make as a people. We can tell our government, this is what we want, this is what we've decided, this is what we think is best. So this is David Lucas within the news, and I'm glad you're here with me. Thanks. Have a great week. This is David Lucas within the news, and if you've enjoyed this content and this conversation, I'd like to ask you to subscribe and participate with my conversation weekly on YouTube. Have a great week.